Hello everybody and welcome back to another D&D story. So today we have this brought in by Seminole Boy in 1999 on r/D&D horror stories. My simple succubus boss turns into an awkward time for my D&D group. I know this won't be the most horrible D&D story out there, but I just wanted to put this here because me and my group still finds it funny. So for context, I was DMing a campaign I called Eternal Gifts, where these deities gave some mortals these medallions with a bit of their power. Long intro short, the party eventually gets to a camp where a succubus is kidnapping human men to turn them into her concubines. Now I know that seems inappropriate and weird, but what I typed just now is all I told them. I went into practically no detail aside from that. Just enough to put two and two together and want to beat the boss, whose name was Delia, or known in legends as Harlot of Eggovane. The party consisted of an Earth Genasi cleric played by my girlfriend named Stoneheel, a half-elf rogue played by my middle brother named Silkworm, and an orc fighter played by my littlest brother, Orlong. They get taken to this camp and are brought before Delia. Okay, I thought, I'll just have them talk to her, get to where she reveals her medallion or antagonizes them so they want to fight her, boss fight happens, then they leave. Well, turns out Silkworm had other plans. See, Silkworm's whole thing was scheming and trying to find sneaky and clever solutions to any problem. I like that about his character and always allowed it because I really like when my players find incredibly smart ways around my obstacles. Shows that they really care and are really getting into it. But here's the thing, Silkworm's plan was to flirt with Delia, get her to lower her guard, and kill her and/or steal the medallion. Two big problems. One, I did not want to go through a whole flirting thing with my brother in front of my other brother and my girlfriend. Two, this is a succubus. If this works too well, I would probably end up making it to where Silkworm either takes damage or even just dies if he rolls low enough on the check. Thankfully, it never came to that. But unfortunately, it came really close. Oh god, I can see where this is starting to go. So we start flirting with her, and I can't recall exactly what he said, but it was awkward as all hell. Not because his flirting and words of seduction were cringy or bad, it was actually the opposite. This guy was actually pulling out some good lines. My girlfriend said she almost choked on her drink for a second out of surprise when we talked about it one time. I found it hilarious because one, again, this is my brother saying this stuff technically to me, and I wanted to die. And two, because this guy doesn't have a girlfriend. Where were these pickup lines in real life, my guy? Wow, honestly. You know it's bad when you're just getting absolutely called out and roasted? Especially by your own sibling. You know, usually you have the reverse where your D&D character is suave and charismatic and, has all the good pickup lines and is incredible at seducing the people at the tavern. But no, you have the reverse where apparently this guy is the player is the one packing all the really good pickup lines and the character is just kind of all along for the ride. Oh boy, anyways. Sorry, back to the story. So these lines end up so good that I don't even make them roll sometimes because why would I ruin something like that with a roll? In hindsight, maybe a roll would have saved us from this. Then again, also too, if you actually did include a roll, knowing how these stories typically go, it probably would have been a natural 20 just to smite you down for your pride, because that's usually how the dice gods operate. Not knowing what to do, I have Delia send Orlong and Stoneheel out of the room. Silkworm keeps seducing until he gets close to her. Finally, he tries to do his plan. He grabs his dagger and tries to stab her, which I have him roll sleight of hand to stab her in the back. He rolls too low. She sees it and he saves it by saying it's a gift for her. I make him roll charisma hoping he'd roll low again and maybe the battle would actually start. He rolls a nat 20. And there you go! That's exactly what I was talking about, the striking you down for your hubris. Right on cue. Back to the story. So back to seducing again, I guess, and he comes up with a new plan. I'm not kidding with this next part either. This is actually what he wanted and what actually happened. He has her remove her clothes for him, with another high charisma roll by the way, turn towards him to head for the bed to do the hanky-panky, and shoot her with his crossbow from behind. She gets in position, he aims the crossbow, rolls the d20, and rolls something between a 3 and a 7. Honestly not sure which it was, but it was way too low. The arrow lands on the floor and alerts her, and obviously unable to riz his way out of this one, he quickly fires again, which actually hits her this time but doesn't kill her, which finally leads to her boss fight. Everything was standard from there, but everyone was so uncomfortable up until that point. We laugh at it now, though I guess it wasn't too bad. The worst part about all of it was we were playing at my girlfriend's house, and her dad was right within earshot of all this from the kitchen. So my girlfriend was the most uncomfortable. Still have some fun D&D sessions to this day, but definitely never gonna even have a slightly attractive female villain character. Ever again. TLDR, brother's character seduces my succubus boss into getting naked before killing it with an earshot of my girlfriend's dad. Whew! Wow. So, to be fair, a lot of these D&D horror stories that I've either seen or that I've just come across through my own existence, they're usually honestly a lot worse than this. And when I say worse, I mean just bad. Like, hey, this is a story that ruined my marriage. Or like, hey, this is a D&D story about how I accidentally embezzled thousands of dollars and like ruined the economy of a foreign country. Like, you know, some of these can get really, really crazy with just like the consequences of what happens in there. Like if we were to rank this one as like honestly just scales of D&D horror stories, I'd say this one's actually fairly tame. A very enjoyable story, by the way, mind you. But I'd honestly say that this is actually something a little closer to just a regular, just funny D&D story. But yeah, so some notes. First of all, I think if the worst thing at the time is that everyone is likely or moderately cringing from an experience that only really lasted part of one session, and then everyone can just kind of like move on and just pretend it never happened, or move on and still joke about it happening, I think that all things considered is pretty good. And it also sounds like you and your group are having a lot of fun. And that is also the most important thing. But anyways, that is my take on the story as well as my narration. I hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you did, then please like, comment, and subscribe for even more content from yours truly. And until I see you again, keep smiling, keep scheming, and I'll see all of you next time.